Hello everyone, this is Austin here with the LS Kennedy Report. This is going to be segmented into a few different games. So, we're starting with Dead Aim with this, for a few of them. I just want to talk about some of the monsters that I think that are overlooked and have great designs. Let's start out with the one and the only, the best Tyrant possibly in the franchise. The only smart Tyrant I can think of up till this point. Until recently, of course. But for its time, it's the first one. Nemesis does not count. Just because he says stars, I mean, I don't really like Nemesis and I never probably will. But Morpheous now. The design is crazy as heck, I'm not gonna lie. Turns from a dude into a woman. Which, you know, I don't know what Capcom was going for there. I mean, I know his whole thing is about beauty, but I mean, come on, it's a little weird. But it's definitely the most interesting Tyrant design in the franchise. You got the electric claw arm, you know, dude to a female, of course, very interesting. Very speedy, keeps their intelligence, which is something that no other Tyrant up till this point really did. Nemesis doesn't keep his intelligence, by the way. He just knows the word stars and will track down all the stars members. But, yeah. Just the way, even though the way they walk is kind of menacing, you know, with the high heels, the clacking. You know, that's kind of like terror, tension. You know, like you hear that noise, you're like, oh boy, here we go. Because she's indestructible. They are indestructible, okay? God, why'd you do this, Capcom? They are indestructible for now when you first encounter Morpheus's second, or technically you can argue it's his second form if you count human as his first form. Definitely a very strong enemy too. And requires you to learn the dodge mechanic pretty well. But the design, the rib cage is poking out, you know, it's beauty is absolute in this kingdom, or whatever the thing that Morpheus wrote down. Their idea of beauty, you know. But yeah, it's definitely the most interesting Tyrant design, and one of my favorites. Indeed. Speaking about Dead Aim and Tyrants, we get to the second Tyrant in the game. T0091. And oh boy, is it another good one. He looks so derpy. It's like his face shows sadness and terror. You know, his mind's probably gone. He was once human, but now he's just monstrosity. I mean, I'm assuming it was a guy, but, you know, I can't remember the file on him. It's been a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean yesterday. But, yeah, I love this design. The tentacle hands, the heart being in the weak spot being in an actual different place this time, where you have to maneuver around him, which also requires you to be pretty good at the dodging mechanics in this game. But he looks very unsettling. Probably the most unsettling enemy in this game and in the Survivor series as a whole. Take that as you will, because I have not played Dino Stalker, and I don't intend to anytime soon, because I don't really like Dino Crisis. I like Dino Crisis too, but anyways, back to this. You can see his teeth. It's like part of his jaw is kind of gone. It's or more like his gums are gone. I don't know how to explain it. It's so derpy, but it just looks so cool to me. And then you notice that his legs have like tentacle things moving around, which is something I just noticed when I was getting footage for this. Very, very intriguing. Very creepy. Like, I imagine those tentacle hands would be great to choke people with, and they reach far distances to grab. The only downside is apparently they're sticky, so if he lunges after you and his hands slip into each other, they get stuck together, giving you an opening to swift behind them and shoot them in the back, where his exposed heart is. which honestly is the best weak point for a Tyrant, honestly. You know, make it to where you have to learn the game's mechanics instead of just RE1, you stand and shoot. RE2, you can actually move around and all that, like better positioning for William, but you know, RE3, Nemesis is annoying as heck. I'm sorry, I don't like Nemesis, but you know, and CVX is it's to stand and shoot again. Also, Outbreak is Thanatos, which I won't be discussing, but I do love Thanatos. But yes, this is probably my favorite Tyrant overall, outside of Morpheous himself, which is just awesome. You know, I don't know. It just speaks to me, this design. Sure, Dead Aim as a game isn't the most memorable thing ever, but these monsters, man, they leave an impact. Speaking of, I might as well talk about the Hunter design. Everyone says it's derpy as heck. I do not care. It is the only good Hunter design after you have sat through the most annoying enemy types in the franchise. And while they're still tough and they're even faster than normal, they aren't complete BS stun lock you into nothingness like they have been in most Resident Evils. They have a more amphibious design, like with one of their hands as a grabber, and then the other one more like a raptor claw, you know, so you can grab with one hand and then go in for the killing blow. They're very agile, although if they're not right up near you, they just slowly walk towards you like they don't care if they live or die. It's kind of silly, so if you're far enough away, you can just have at them. But if you get up close and personal, they're quick, they're agile. Those are the same words. I'm an idiot. I'm truly a Duvall after all. The yellow in their eyes is really cool. I wouldn't want to be... If I had to go up against any hunter, this would be the one I'd want to go up. Yes, it is the most agile, but it also looks like the weakest threat, you know? But I'm probably wrong on that. Speaking of hunters, I may as well talk about Resident Evil 3 OG, not remake. No, God, no. OG RE3 has 2 unique hunter types, and only one of those come back in remake, and they aren't as good in that one. I mean, they're more annoying, but you know. Let's talk about the Sweeper, which is basically your standard hunter, except for it's even worse now. I'm like, in design, I love it. In practice, I like it too. It's just hunters in that game with the dodge mechanic is so BS. But yes, the Sweeper, they are a poisonous type of hunter. They're red, and they can, you know, poison you with their attacks, which is awesome. You know, at least that means a reason to use blue herbs outside of spiders for once, you know. They're still really just a hunter again. They're just recolored, but they're a lot more deadlier. You encounter them first at the hospital, I believe, and then again you can also run into them in the courtyard as Gilles. Also in the hospital, the Hunter Gammas, which probably have the most unsettling death in classic Resident Evil. They can eat you alive, and you know, they can also do that in remake, but the animation takes its time way more in the original, so you get to feel that, you know, grossness from it. And they're blue, so you know, that's awesome. They also are in Outbreak, and they are cool in that game too. They only appear in the hospital, and they have a chance to appear in the courtyard. So, at least I think so. It's been a while since I played classic RE3. But I know for sure they first arrive in the hospital after you get the vaccine-based thing. You drain the water, and then they bust out, and you never have to fight them since you're so close to the door, you can just run out. So, no real worries as Carlos. But as Jill, like I said, it's optional. Well, it's not optional. It's RNG in the courtyard near the water. They'll either jump out of the water or it'll just be zombies. And coming back around to a Tyrant again. This is easily my favorite of the PS1 era. And no, it's not Nemesis. God, I hate that guy. Hypnos from Resident Evil Survivor. Not a lot of people like this game. I can understand why you wouldn't. And let me be so bold to say, I love Survivor. It's not a great game. But, Hypnos is very cool in design. Sure, he becomes, just a standard Tyrant once he transforms into a super phase where his heart is exposed. But, dude, the design is so sleek in his first form. And he's really a pushover. All you have to do is get a grenade launcher, shoot to his right near his foot, and since the grenade works like it did in RE2, where it's a path, the explosion goes out, you can just insta-kill him. But dude, the design is so cool. It's just so slick, and they look more intimidating than Tyrant from CVX. I don't know his name. He doesn't look more intimidating than Dead Aim's Tyrant though, but and he kind of looks more intimidating than Mr. X. Kind of. It's hard to explain. At least if we're going by the classic version of Mr. X. Now, Darkside Chronicles, that thing looks creepy as heck. But yeah, Hypnos is so cool. The name is badass, dude. Hypnos Tyrant. Let's go, Hypnos. But yeah, I love it. I love the PS1 aesthetic, and I don't know. The reason he comes after you is stupid. You don't do anything. You just look at him it's even optional. You don't even have to run up to him and press a button. But if you do, you'll get some text. And then the next thing you know, you're either greeted from Andy, the leaders of the cleaner unit, or Vincent. And he will kill one of those three. And it's hilarious, the cutscene for each of those deaths. And then you fight him. So, because the game needed a Tyrant. And while he doesn't follow you like Nemesis did, what do you expect? It's Resident Evil Survivor. Come on. I love you, Survivor, don't worry. I'm just saying. I prefer it over Nemesis. Yes, I know. How could that be? Dude, I'm sorry for the Nemesis hate. I just can't stand it. He gets so annoying. He doesn't work with tank controls. I'm sorry. But yes, Hypnos is a great Tyrant, and I love him. Him, Capcom, who knows, Who knows at this point what Capcom wants. If you made it this far, maybe consider liking and subscribing. This has been Austin with the LS Kennedy Report, and I hope you have a blessed day.